Robinson and comedian Leo Kearse. Oh, that's me as well, sorry. First, I want to discuss the story I was talking about. Now, I'm going to start with you, Leo, obviously, because Nicola Sturgeon, she's back again. She's found another angle to break up the union. Yeah, and it's ridiculous. She's meeting with Sinn Féin, who essentially want to reunify an island politically, but the SNP want to break up an island. They want to take Scotland out of the United Kingdom. So you know, there seems to be a loggerheads. The one thing they've got in common is a general antipathy towards England and the United Kingdom. So that's the unifying thing there. But I mean, a lot of people have been criticising Sturgeon for getting into bed with a party that does contain, I think we can say this without any controversy, murderers and terrorists. But I think it's a success of democracy that, you know, these things are now settled at the ballot box instead of using guns and bombs. What do you think, Calvin?
It shows how desperate this woman is that she's willing to work with terrorists, enemies of the United Kingdom, in order to get her own way. The people of her country said, no, we do not want independence from the United Kingdom. She said it was once in a generation question. She keeps asking it.
Well, she would argue that they said yes, didn't she? Because in Scotland, they had a majority for Remain, although the referendum was for the United Kingdom. That's the
Leave referendum. I mean the referendum to leave the United Kingdom, not the European Union. People said, we want to remain. Yes. So she should get on with it, and I don't know why they keep voting her in. That's the problem.
Well, they haven't got anybody else.
One issue.
Well, it's the failure of the Labour Party, I would say, ultimately, who used to have a sort of stranglehold on Scotland alongside the SNP. We're only a small little party sort of clutching on the side like the Liberal Democrats. But unfortunately, also the failure of the Conservative Party. However, they never really have a strong foothold in Scotland, so it's really a failure of any sort of presence.
It's a failure of devolution. So having a devolved parliament has just created a satellite parliament that, I mean, it's supposed to be, ironically, a devolved parliament in Scotland was supposed to create a sort of caretaker government that focuses on local issues and listens to the people. And instead, it's just a single issue party, you know, like UKIP, who, you know, they share a lot of similarities with, you know, like the British National Party, who they share a name with. It's the Scottish National Party. It's just the northern British version of the BNP. So, you know, they've got this single issue that they keep banging the drum. They attack England, they attack Westminster, and while receiving incredible largesse from Westminster's coffers. I think under the Barnett formula, it's over £15 billion a year extra that Scotland gets.
Well, she's not highlighting any of that, and she's also, I mean, when they first started talking about independence, she didn't mention about the money either. I mean, they can't be governed by the Bank of England, so what money are they going to use? There's all these little questions that she sort of evades. Then I remember at one point she said, well, we'll use sterling for a while, and then it's like, well, hang on, no. I mean, you can't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Either you're in, out, shake it all about, we'll do the... No. You know, if you genuinely want to leave, then these are the things that come with leaving. It's a bit like us with Brexit. We've left the EU, so there are elements of it that they will not give us simply for the fact that we've left.
But devolution was a massive mistake. It does not work. And the problem we're seeing, you know, a lot of our viewers always bring this up when we have this topic, is that what about English representation? If we've got Scottish representation, Welsh, Northern Irish representation, where's the English representation? And I know you could say, well, it's all based in Westminster, but it doesn't work in that way, does it? So we either need all of the nations to be devolved or none of them. And I would prefer to go for none of them. I would prefer a one-nation situation. In fact, it might solve the problem in Ireland as well. We could have a one united Ireland under British rule. I'd go with that.
But I think it's going to be very difficult to get that toothpaste back in the tube, though. You know, unpicking devolution. Even though it's a great idea, I think it's going to foster a lot of resentment. And it's not like Scotland's a country that's running short on resentment. But yeah, I think Scottish independence, realistically, I don't think Sturgeon actually wants Scottish independence. It would be a disaster for Scotland, but more particularly, it would be a disaster for the SNP. All of a sudden, their one issue that they bang the drum about would be gone, and they'd be judged on the real issues: health, education, the infrastructure, transport, all these things that they've been absolutely failing on. Scotland's just plummeting down the league tables for health, for education. I mean, you go to Glasgow now, I can barely recognise it. It's like going to Mogadishu, but with worse weather.
Have you ever been to Mogadishu?
No, but I've seen some photos.
I thought I'd ask. Yeah, Mogadishu might be slightly better, actually. No, but look, I've never been to Mogadishu. I've been to Scotland. I absolutely love Scotland. I think it's beautiful. It's such a gorgeous place, and I absolutely want it to be part of the United Kingdom. Is Nicola Sturgeon doing anything that is positive and constructive within the SNP for, if you ignored the issue of independence, that you could look at them and think, oh, they're doing well?
I genuinely can't find anything in the SNP, in any of their practical application of politics and their management of the country, the legislation they're bringing through. It's all negative.
Healthcare's gone down, education's gone down. She was an absolute tyrant throughout the pandemic.
Oh, wasn't she?
Civil liberties argument. She's been atrocious.
Yeah.
So maybe the question should be, look, do you want an independent Scotland or do you want a British Scotland? And if they say we want a British Scotland, then we should get rid of devolution. Then maybe that's the way to do it. Say we'll have one united kingdom, or we can have separate countries. Which way do you want it?
Well, the thing is, though, they won't want to be ruled by Westminster, would they? If you said one united kingdom, how would you fix it?
Westminster includes Scottish MPs.
Yeah.
So, and we've got to remember, before the SNP made Scotland a parochial, inward-looking country, Scots had a huge influence in the civil service, in Parliament, and we've had so many Scottish or Scottish-educated prime ministers, like Tony Blair, Gordon Brown. I think it would be good to see Scotland take more. We used to have such a strong role in the United Kingdom, and now we've got a much smaller role in the United Kingdom, but we control a lot of what is essentially, a golf course with a whiskey shop on.
Well, the irony is that then she wants to join the EU. So it makes no sense at all.
Yeah, foreign rule.
Doesn't
Quite
make
literally.
sense.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Backwards.
Well, anyway, what do you think? If you want